In this video, we're going to look at 4 different Amazon marketplaces, analyze them, and then help you pick the perfect one for you. We're going to be looking at .com, the US, the UK, Germany, and also Canada. Now, we need to ask a few questions about each of these. We need to know how big they are, how much competition there is, what type of products sell well and launch well for first products, and also where you live, because that will affect where you want to sell. So let's start off by looking at how big each of these marketplaces are. I found some data from 2018 that shows that the US is by far the largest of all the marketplaces. It's larger than all the rest of them combined, clocking in at about $160 billion in revenue in 2018. The Germany is at 20 billion, the UK at 15, Japan's at 14, and the rest of the world 24 combined. Now, what you don't see here, and it's for a very good reason, is the Canadian marketplace. And the reason is it is so damn small. You don't have any clue how small it is. To the point where I have a product selling 50 units a day here in the US, but looking at my competitors in Canada, I think I would sell 1 unit a day. That is it. That's how, like from 50 to 1, that's how tiny the Canadian marketplace is. So for those of you who live in Canada, you're never going to launch a product in Canada. But that's okay, because I have lots of friends in Canada and all of them sell on .com. And you guys actually have a nice little bonus, because in Canada, a lot of the banks have one branch in the US. So you actually have a US-based bank account, which is absolutely not a must to sell on Amazon. But it's a nice little bonus for you guys, because you're never selling on your own marketplace. It's just never going to happen. So you see these other markets. You know, Germany's about 12% as big as the US. We've got the UK at about 9% as big as the US. You'd think, why don't you just want to go to sell in the US? It's got the most customers, the most potential money I can make. But that's really a flawed way of thinking, because we want to think more about the competition. You know, sure, there's 10 times as many buyers here, but there's also 10 times as many sellers. So we really got to take these hand in hand. And what I've seen doing the research in both marketplaces is that the competition is pretty similar. So a marketplace in the US selling $100,000 a month is going to be similar in competitiveness to a niche in the UK selling $100K a month. So that's very similar, but it's very different in that the types of products in the UK that actually sell $100K a month is just totally different, because there are a lot less products in the UK that actually sell enough for you to want to launch a product, because the market's just so much smaller. And so the market's so consolidated in the UK that you actually have to sell a lot more mainstream products to find ones that actually sell enough for you to make money. In the US, their markets are so massive and there's so many products that sell enough. There's just so many options, to the point where my first product is a product I had never, ever heard of. So just really sit back and think about that. In 22 years of my life, there's still so many sales on Amazon that I had never heard of this product. That's crazy to think of. And I was still able to profit a couple $1,000s every month on this product. That's ridiculous. But in the UK, that's just never going to happen. There's the products like that just simply do not sell. And so let me give you some examples. In the US, this product went very hot about a year ago. They're called gold rim cups, and you use them for weddings and nice parties. This is a pretty specific product. It's a cup with the gold rim that's disposable. But this is something I'd never seen before until I'd been on Amazon, and I'd still never seen anybody buy in real life. But it sells over $100,000 every month on Amazon, like possibly $200K. But in the UK, a product like that is just not going to be a good market, because it's only going to sell 10% as much. In the UK, you're going to want to look at a lot more mainstream products that you use in your everyday life, stuff like these pots and pans. In the US, these products are going to be hyper competitive because the markets are so big. There's going to be listings that sell $1 million a month. And when you're looking at that kind of money, you're going to be competing against the absolute best sellers in the world that know 100 times more than you do. And they also buy in such large quantities that you're just never going to be able to compete with them on price. They can always lower their price to wipe you out of the market. So, but it's different on the UK market. The pots and pans market in the UK might only be $150,000 a month, in which case there's going to be a lot less competition. The people selling these products in the US they're sleeping on the UK market for it because they just don't care. They don't care. People selling 100K a month don't care about products selling 10K a month. They won't even get up out of bed for that. So that allows for us, the more inexperienced sellers and newer ones to come in and take that kind of sales. So in the UK, you're going to be looking at products that you probably have used, that you probably know. Now this creates a very interesting situation. If you come up with a product innovation in the US, you have a phenomenal way. You really want to sell pots and pans. You have an awesome idea to make them better than the competition. Well, you probably don't want to do it in the US to start, but you may want to go over to the UK, launch that same thing where there's going to be a lot more feasible for you to compete. And also, if you find a product in the UK where you got a great idea, but the product's just not selling enough for it to make any sense for you to launch it there, well, you might want to come over to the US and see what the market looks like over there and launch it in the US. So it really does create a position where if you know how to leverage the two markets when you're doing product research, you might start in the UK and then end up in the US and the other way around. It's really awesome to see how it works. So remember, in the US, you're going to be looking at products that are a little more obscure. You're not going to be looking at phone chargers or pots and pans. In the UK, you're going to be looking at products that are more everyday use, stuff you've probably used. Now, a great example. One of my successful students sold about 10,000 pounds his first month in the UK. He came to me with a product, had a phenomenal way to innovate it. But this is a product in the US that was selling millions of dollars every month. Probably $3-4 million a month that was the market size. Actually, probably about 2 million. So there was no way he was going to come in and start competing against these people. It just wasn't going to happen. But in the UK, the top seller was doing $30,000, maybe $40,000 a month. And so he was able to take his innovation, which was phenomenal, and launch it much more easily in the UK. And then as his product becomes more successful over there, he's probably going to attempt a US launch and see how it goes over here. But he has multiple advantages now launching in the US because he's able to loader in much larger quantity sizes because he's already selling in the UK. And if for some reason it didn't sell in the US, well, he could just ship that US quantity over to the UK and sell it there. It's awesome the way you can expand. And I'm looking to expand right now into UK and also Germany with this best-selling product of mine. So I want you guys to also take into account where you live. If you live in the UK, you probably want to sell in the UK. If you live in the US or anywhere in North America, you want to sell in the US. If you live in the EU, you probably want to look at the UK, but America is going to be a very viable option also. And if you live outside of the EU, outside of Europe, you probably want to sell in the US. Because me trying to learn about their value-added tax and all the complicated stuff over there, even though I'm a successful seller, I'm still having issues figuring all that garbage out. Whereas there seems to be a lot less issues setting up on Amazon.com. So I really want you guys to do one thing for me. Go check out this video where I show you how I built $30,000 a month in income streams. You'll see all the money I make from Amazon and YouTube. And also go check out this video right here where I show you more on how to find winning products that'll sell you $10,000 a month and get you out of that job that you probably hate. Smash the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.